Here.
King.
Yes.
Legislator Carlson has been excused. Schultz.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Mosier.
Here.
Osborne.
Here.
Dahlhoff.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and pledge. We seek blessings on task before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Stand for the flag. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The September 4th minutes have been distributed and they stand approved unless anyone has a correction offered. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6. Hearing.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met and recommended to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
I'd like to make a motion, Randy, second by Ron. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now open a public hearing for comments on local law number 4, 2018 to authorize overriding the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law 3-C, otherwise known as the 2% tax cap for the Lewis County 2019 budget. Is there anyone here that has a comment on that? If not, we'll move to the privilege of the floor, and we will start with Superintendent Doug Primo from South Lewis School to talk about their downsized capital building project.
Thank you. First off, just want to say thank you for the opportunity for us to come and just share briefly some information about our capital project that we have. I'm Doug Primo, Superintendent of South Lewis. I'm joined tonight by one of our Board of Education members, Jessica Carpenter. So last year we had a capital project vote in South Lewis to consolidate our district into a single campus. It was a $44 million project that was narrowly defeated by the voters by about 80 votes, so 54 to 46%. At that time, the plan was to put an elementary addition onto our middle school, high school campus, do some renovations to our middle school, high school campus, and that would have then precipitated the closure of Glenfield and Portline Elementary School in the future. That vote was defeated. We spent the last 6 to 8 months kind of talking to stakeholders, looking at the exit poll from the vote, and we keep coming back to two things. The fact that we strongly believe the best education we can provide our kids is in a single campus, and that the best use of our taxpayer dollars is through the addition of an elementary school versus the renovations of older elementary schools. However, we did make some changes to the original project. We brought it down from a $44 million project to a $38 million project, so we basically shaved off $5.4 million. We were also able to create a capital reserve through the approval of the voters last May, so that brings the total project down to 36 and some change $million. So that had a 59% reduction in our tax impact from last year's vote to this year's vote to our average taxpayer. So this October 23rd, we are going out to vote on a revised scaled down project of what was put out to the voters last year, noon to 8 p.m. at our middle school, high school campus. We have had the fortunate opportunity to go and speak with nearly 20 different community groups between the beginning of September and prior to the October 23rd vote date. Again, this is one of the opportunities that we're taking to just, again, try to bring information to the public and the voters as opposed to having them come to us. We do have public hearings and things of that nature, but those aren't always well attended. So we're trying to get out to as many different community groups as possible. I do have some brochures with a Q&A that I can just hand out and you can peruse at your leisure. This is something that we will mail out to all of our residents in South Louis. I know some of you are residents in our district, others are not, so just information for you. But that's kind of the I guess, big picture. And at this point, we just wanted to see if there's any questions that we can answer, any information we can give out that may help you or others better understand our project that we have in South Louis.
What's your building age?
Our building age is around 80%, but this project here, because not everything that we're doing is aidable, is about 2/3 aidable, 1/3 local taxpayer funded.
Mr. Primo, do you have a rough guesstimate on what the cost of this per $100,000 of assessment will be?
We did it on the $75,000 assessment, but it's about an increase of $70 to the taxpayer for every $75,000 of assessed value. Last year, that number was $170, and like I said, we've been able to reduce that through some reductions in the overall scope and plan, use of the capital reserve, and also just the efficiencies we're going to realize by operating a single campus versus multiple campuses is pretty significant. About $500,000 a year minimally that we can save by operating a single campus.
It's hard to get the aid evened out, isn't it? You end up putting
Yes.
stuff in a project you could do without, but to get something else, you gotta.
Correct. Yes, that's a balancing act.
It is.
Yes. Sounds like you know that as your.
Yeah, I was on the Lee River School Board for 8 years.
There you go. There you go.
Any other questions for Mr. Primo?
Thanks for your presentation.
Well, thank you. We
Thank you
appreciate
very
the
much.
time and opportunity, and I'll leave these with somebody to be passed out. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Chamber Executive Director, Kristen Author, to present a summary of the I Love New York budget.
I do, yes. It'll probably be a little easier to see. Well, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank you guys for having us here tonight. This presentation that I'm going to do quickly is one that I presented in August when we did our budget request. And the committee that was here that particular day thought that it would be interesting for the rest of you to see as well. Kind of just an overview of where we see ourselves going into 2019. A study that's actually done by Longwoods International annually on the economic impact of tourism in New York showed that actually between 2016 and 2017, Lewis County grew the most out of any other county in the Adirondacks. Granted, it was 4 million compared to Warren County's 30 million. However, percentage-wise, we went up the most. Increase of almost $4 million in just 1 year, which I think goes to show that we are in the right track on focusing on tourism in the county and that it is beneficial to what we have going on here. I believe if we continue increasing tourism in the area, we'll have no problem in raising that bottom line number as well. Just to break it down a little bit, the regional growth is actually broken down into the different sectors. Lodging, recreation, F&B is food and beverage, retail and service stations, and second homes. Kind of one that I really wanted to point out here, and this is in the 100,000s, is in Lewis County we have $30 million worth of second homes, which shows that we are a good place for people that wanted to live. These are camps, second homes, places where people are hoping to retire from. So that is a great thing for us here. Any questions on any of that
That's
so
assessed
far?
valuation, is that what that is?
Yes. So the Longwoods International study is, I pulled out 2 pages of a, I believe it's 30 to 45 page survey. Terry does have that entire survey, so she can send that to you if you would like. Social media is also playing an essential role where
Kristen, could you
we're
just
at.
back
Yep.
up 2 slides, I just want to point something out.
Sure.
When you look at the total number of tourist dollars, I'm looking for the line here. Lewis County has $44 million in total of traveler spend, and we have $30 million of seasonal homes. Warren County has $602 million in tourist dollars, and they have $70 million in second homes. So I think that's really interesting to recognize that we have so many second homes here compared to the actual overall spend versus, you know, the biggest county in the state with respect to tourist dollars is only twice what we have in second homes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Social media is something we've been pushing. These are submitted by people that follow us on Instagram. We started it in 2017. We have almost 5,000 followers at this point. Our demographics are right where we thought they were going to be with the social media, with 65% of them are between the ages of 18 and 34. Some interesting facts is, although 80% are located in the USA, 15% are from Canada, and the other 5% are a mix between Europe, Egypt, and Australia. So kind of a broad range of people that are interested in the area, but it's a great benefit to the area. When you're planning your vacation, a lot of people, they look at where their friends have gone, they look at where their family has gone, and that's how they choose where they're going to go next. Where did my friends and family have a great time? So social media is playing a great part in that as well. We combined our websites last year. We had the Lewis County Chamber website and also the AdirondacksHugHill.com website. We've combined them into one with a great amount of feedback from the community. After only 3 months, going through this, we've increased traffic on the page, 200 to 300 people every month, and that's continuing to go on with very limited search engine optimization. Our goal for 2019 will be to fine-tune that a little bit more and increase that traffic. The events page, if you haven't gone to look at it yet, has been a huge benefit as well. We've had people tell us that it's the only place that they go now to look for events in the county because everything's there. And it's also been a huge benefit to our chamber members as additional advertising because they can go on, add their events at their leisure, make sure everything's exactly how they want it versus sending it to us and having kind of a middleman. So that's been a nice benefit as well. We're going to continue to change our advertising and update it a little bit. Remember that print advertising takes a little bit more effort. When people see it in a magazine, they can't just click on the magazine. That doesn't do very much. So they have to be intrigued enough to want to go look at whatever it is on the website, pick up their phones, their tablets, go on their computers and look at it. So our goal is to continuously increase the traffic on the website this way by making it more appealing to people visually. And our funding hopefully will help us with that. In addition to modernizing kind of the print advertising, we also would like to produce new commercials and videos that we might be able to use. The current ones we've been using are a bit dated, but we would like to focus on more of an I Love Lewis County motto. The Catskills have done a fabulous job with theirs, and while I don't want to copy theirs, I do think that they have the right look for what we're going for, and I have 3 of them to show you tonight, so I'm just going to play them real quickly. visualize what we think would work really great for the county, I think people would come to the county seeing things like that, or it would at least get them interested in the area. Obviously, to get that kind of level videos, we're going to have to hire a videographer. My cell phone can't do things like that. Well, maybe it can, but I don't know how to make it do it. So we're in the process of getting quotes for that, and it would be a year-long project. We want to do our best for every single season that the county has to offer. So it would be a labor, time-intensive project to do. But our vision is to get specifically themed 30-second videos that we would be able to use throughout the year, whether it be on social media or on the TV. And not just for the chamber and at trade shows, but it would be something that maybe the hospital could use for recruiting people, or the IDA might be able to utilize it to bring more businesses to the area. So not just something just for the chamber, but something that is more utilized throughout the whole area. I guess in addition to that, we're going to try to use some funding to pursue a professional survey to quantify the economic value of tourism here. In addition to just that, we want to see if we can forecast some demand, guide our strategy, and evaluate what our current strategy is in regards to tourism to see where we can fine-tune it to increase that $4 million that we went up between 2016 and 2017 to something much larger. So that's pretty much it in regards to what we have going on in 2019 at the chamber. Does anybody have any questions for me? I also have Cheyenne Styria here. She's the treasurer at the chamber, so if she has anything to add, you can jump on up.
You do a great job. I'm really excited about the marketing that can be done, and I think it works well for the county and for the hospital, for the IDA. I think just getting awareness of our area out there would be a great thing.
Anyone out there have any questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next for privilege of the floor, we have the hospital CEO, Jerry Cater, with us. He was here to introduce our new neurosurgeon. He looks like he must be busy.
Yeah, he's in a case, so he may join us. However, I've put together a packet, so at least I can introduce him, and I'll look for another opportunity for him to be here. It's always a good sign when the doctor is busy. For some, yeah. That's a good, duly noted. So Dr. Nick Kanda has started clinic. He has been active now the last 2 months. And when you hear neurosurgical services, you know, it lends itself to a few jokes. I can tell you we will not be doing brain surgery, though he does do brain surgery. The first 4 to 6 months of the clinic, he's really, the first 2 months of clinic has really focused on Lewis County people who are not having to travel south to Utica for service. So they're established relationships. There are also some folks coming from St. Lawrence County, you know, down this way. Eventually, there will be enough of a clinic population that it will lend itself to some surgical procedures.
in our institution. And so some of those procedures, epidural injections, facet injections, trigger point injections, spinal cord stimulators, minimally invasive discectomies, MIS fusions, ACDFs, endoscopic disc removal, and disc replacement arthroplasty. Now, I'm the administrator, not a medical person, so I couldn't go into great detail on most of those. Those are procedures that would be done on an outpatient surgical basis. These are the types of procedures that you would not have to be admitted overnight. So, you know, I look at it as a strong specialty clinic model is an appropriate service for an institution our size. It is also a way to help shore up our ongoing financial performance. And, you know, as a recently new member to the Lewis County IDA, I also bring the perspective that when we can keep local healthcare dollars local, it's just better for the county. So he has a tremendous personality, has been well received by our medical staff, and I am anxious for you to meet him so you can just get a sense of his enthusiasm and thrilled to be working with us here in Lewis County. So that would be it, Mr. Chair, unless there are any questions.
Have you heard anything on your grant?
No, that is the $16 million question. No, we haven't. I expect at this point, probably, or maybe this is hopeful, mid-October to the end of October. So we haven't heard yet. But we're not alone. That's for all of the grant applications.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Presentation of communications and notices.
Transitional Living Services Executive Director Lauren Kane corresponded her appreciation for the board's approved financial subsidy to their organization for behavioral health services provided to Lewis County residents. And that was the presentation.
Thank you. Reports of county officers and departments.
Legislators have all received copies of the Treasurer's September report, the third quarter bed tax report, the September 24 highway and solid waste audit reports, and minutes of the September 19 Youth Bureau Advisory Board and August 14 Community Services Board meetings. Also, the Sealer Weights and Measures, Jim Richmeyer, has submitted his August activity report to be placed on file in my office. And
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. John, would you start with Social Services, Office for the Aging and Youth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. DSS, they had a medical audit. 50 cases were pulled, 41 had no findings, 9 had minor findings where the code was just wrong. One was a $2 error, and quality of the work was just excellent, they said. They had a financial audit, and the outcome was very good there. Sheila and her team did an outstanding job. SNAP bonus fund plan for $50,000 was approved by the OTDA. The summer youth employment, DSS received $61,800 in summer youth employment funds. They put 30 youth to work in 18 different locations. Pat Northern funded $42,000 for career here funding. That was for 8 college level and 2 BOCES students, so that combined total of $103,000 in funding. So it put a lot of young gentlemen to work and ladies. The bridge out of poverty training is October 24th and 25th at the Lovell Mennonite Church. There's 17 spots available. I'm not sure if they're all filled yet.
I think there's a few left.
Okay. And Lewis County Youth Bureau. The Lewis County Night Out event had a record number of attendees. Scott did a presentation. He's the CEO of Lewis County Opportunities on what they offer. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
John, you have a couple of motions. I have put them in on the top.
motion to authorize DSS Commissioner Jennifer Jones to fill an existing full-time caseworker effective immediately due to resignation at an hourly rate of $21.45.
Motion by John, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. A motion to authorize OFA Director Kelly Heckler to fill a nutrition service coordinator due to resignation. Molly Millette resigned and her last day of work was 9/21/18.
Motion by John, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, John. Randy, taxation, elections, information technology.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I bother Adam to give us a quick update? I got an email today from you guys.
On the broadband.
The broadband update, you want me to do it, or?
I forwarded them.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you
All right.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's just, because I talked with Adam earlier today, but, anyways, New York State broadband program approved, the office approved some changes to their, initial design, and this has allowed them to draw down on some of the grants, so that's giving them to free up some money to put in some additional equipment on the towers. They have 7 leases with local, landowners, nearly completed the new tower builds. They're preparing 8 more, and 3 new additional towers to be functional by the end of 2018. Barnes Corners, Lionsdale, and Crystaldale, which is a county-owned tower, and they're still planning to remove some of the old radio equipment on the Crystaldale tower. And there's been positive feedback with regards to more people having access to the high-speed internet. So again, keep telling people to get out there and talk to these guys, and they'll get there quicker if they have more interest from a specific area. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Question for Randy?
Yeah, Randy, is there any advertising going on? Because a lot of people don't know who to get a hold of or who to contact on that.
It's been on the radio. I've seen it on the television too.
Is it under that, Brian? Okay.
It's definitely on Facebook, so they're
Okay,
definitely out there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Ryan, county officers, veterans, junkyards, and HR.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing veterans, nothing with, junkyard. I don't know if everyone wants to talk about what we had about the school resource officer now and treasurer title. Do you want to discuss that now, or do you want to wait till the end of the year? It's up to you guys.
It's under HR, right?
Yeah. If you want to do it now. Sure. So, first, we had talked in the committee about the school resource officers, and as you know, South Louis has one, which theirs is being paid for through their school system through a grant. Harrisville, of course, everyone knows that we approved to give them one committee and through the full board here. Moving forward, we'd like everyone to have some ideas on how we're gonna fund this moving forward. Is the county gonna keep funding, use the officers when they're not in school? We're gonna ask the schools to fund it fully, and then the officers only work when the school is in session. If you don't use them, we're open to anyone's ideas here, how they wanna move forward with this.
Courts and law, we started the process where we're kicking in money, but I think Ron chimed in, please, here, Rick's not here tonight, but we would like it to be picked up completely by the whole schools that use the resource officer. The time they use them, they pay for them. And then what we talked about is that from there, when they're done in that 9 months, then we put money in recreation for recreation patrol, and that's what they pick up on the other side. So,
Yes.
Is it possible to use retired officers for school officers?
you asked, the sheriff has people in mind. I guess my thought there is it might be possible, but if they're retired, they can only earn so much. I think there's a cap. And then the other thing is we're wanting to use them for recreation and stuff after they're out of school. I guess one of the concerns would we have, or would they have to quit work because of the amount of time. So, essentially, he's got one that lives in Harrisville, it's gonna be back up there. Then we've got in the budget one, or not the budget, but the packet, a replacement, because they will not put one at Harrisville until he has a replacement for a regular officer. So we'll discuss that further. But, you know, it's.
Because we have a resolution in the packet. We have more than a
Right.
resolution.
And it's, you know, I mean, he is an elected official, it's pretty much his decision. So, we've asked about it, try to be most cost effective, but.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a note, please?
Sure.
In your packet, the agreement with Harrisville School District, we intentionally made that agreement so that it expires at the end of June. So what happens is our budget runs December to January, but the school districts run in the spring. So we want to make sure that we've ended this current contract so that we can reset and look at what we want to do going forward. So that's the plan, that's what you'll be asked to approve tonight. It's something that only takes us through to the end of the school year, which gives us the opportunity then to reevaluate and see what you want to do going forward.
Everyone's good with that then?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. To, the initiative to change treasurer title to director of finance, and if everyone realizes we can't do the comptroller, because we are not a charter county, so we would have to make it an appointed position solely, if we were to take that away from the voters, so.
Right, excuse me, I didn't, so what you're saying is.
Okay,
that-
remember the suggestion,
Yeah, I do.
Greg? Yep, so we're not a chartered county. We're not a charter county, so we can't do the comptroller, option.
The question I had
So-
is about the electoral part.
Okay, so the other option is like we were discussing before, if we put it up to public referendum, let the public vote on whether or not they wanna allow us to appoint an account or a finance executive, someone like that, or we just leave it the way it is and we go with whoever runs for treasurer, so those are your two options. It's up to the voters either way.
Okay, that's my main.
I mean, it is, I mean, we just make the recommendation to them in the public referendum that we'd like to make an appointed position based on
We
our
still have the
reasoning behind
ability
it.
to, we still have the ability to, put together some standards or whatever the person we're looking for.
In the appointed position, not the county treasurer. That's an elected, you or I, any one of us could run for treasurer. Yeah, so. But the appointed position would be just like when we hire Ryan or we hire any of the other department heads. We can put requirements in.
Now that means we're gonna have to have a special election, right?
We'd have to have a special election
We can't
because we're
get-
past, we don't have enough time to put that on the ballot in November, so we have to have a special election.
So, I've lost track, does this resolution just set the public hearing, or does it
Well-
go further than that?
There's no resolution.
There is no resolution.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's
This was just things that the committee wanted to discuss with everyone here so we have an idea, so all of us know what we wanna do. We've gotta discuss it, so.
Mr. Chairman, the resolution that was tabled from last month initiates the change to the local law. The first step to that is to set the date for the public hearing.
Just for clarity, I'd like to make a few comments. The question here, this is the first time in 20 years that I know of that we've been in a position that we have not had someone come up through the ranks in the treasurer's office to fill the role of treasurer. So that the issue is that someone could get elected that does not have the fiscal ability to to fill that role. So we would in turn, if that were the case, would have to turn around and create a new position called a CFO or whatever we term it in order to fulfill the duties of that office, and at that point the treasurer would be a figurehead only. So the question to the voters is, if this goes forward, is a question of risk. Are you comfortable with taking the risk that someone may get elected to fill this office that does not have the ability to do that, and would be willing to support the tax increase that would be necessary in order to create a second position? Or would you rather that the Board of Legislators fulfill that position as an appointee, where we could establish some qualifications to fill that role? If it's an elected position, because we're not a charter county, we cannot dictate qualifications. So anyone that was interested in that position could run and could be elected to it. So that's my comments on what the issue is.
I would agree with it, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff being thrown out on social media that we want control, or that we want the availability to fire someone if we disagree with them. You know, that's not the concern. The concern is the betterment of this county and the best financial ability that we have. So, I mean, if we do get someone that hasn't got the experience, we're going to be right into the boat that you said. All the treasurer is going to be as a figurehead that signs checks. We're going to end up hiring a CFO anyway, so, to do our finances.
Is there a date certain when this has to be done? Is it election day, or when is that? When, I guess, when we
Well, we missed the date for the public hearing and to get it on the ballot in November. Okay, so if we were to move forward, this is something we'd have to start setting a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, then I think we can set a date for a special public referendum vote. But if we're going to have this, if we would like this in place, or the ability to have this in place by the time that Patty retires in a year, that's something that we are going to have to start moving forward on. So there is a possibility we could set the election up, which would save us a little money with like a village election or something like that. You're still going to have to put the voting machines out to the rest of the county, but that would save us a little money. I think you got a quote from elections, wasn't it? Is it right around $20,000 or $22,000 if we have to do a special election?
Yeah,
Or a special ballot.
but if we need to get it out at a certain deadline too, because
Right.
people are gonna, it's gotta be before the petitions and stuff are passed.
Pat, the petitions usually get handed in the middle of July. They have to be signed.
Right.
So we have to have it in place by then. If we're going to put it up for, in mind, I mean, we say that we have to have it done. The public still has the final say. They're going to vote yes or no. So we aren't taking it out of their hands. Actually, we're putting this right in the voters' laps is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, but you're still not sure what kind of quality person you're going to get.
No,
Right.
Well, if you hire someone, if we have the ability to appoint,
Well, yeah. I'm
then
talking
we
about
have
if we do-
some control of the ability of that person. I mean,
Qualifications.
the qualifications. But
I mean, I personally think we need to move it forward. You know, have our public hearing and whatever, and lay the facts out like Larry has and a few other people. And, you know, at the referendum, the choice is theirs. That's all we can really do. But the main concern is ending up with one that's not qualified to do the job.
To Ron's question about a drop dead date, I think that we wouldn't want to push it out any further than May. That seems to be the time when people start getting their petitions together to start running for the summer primaries.
I mean, I've reached out to a few accountants, you know, that are retiring in the private sector, and they have no interest. So, that's not saying someone pays off, it's might change their mind between now and then either, so.
Whether we wanna set a date tonight to start it.
Has anybody talked to the
I think we
parties that be, if there are any other candidates potentially out there?
I haven't had any discussion with anybody.
I mean, essentially, the number 2 in the treasurer's office is always trained to take the position. That's the way it's been happening. If you're in that position, you're trained to take the next step.
Well, that resolution that was tabled, which sets the public hearing for the next November meeting, if we, someone wants to make a motion to return that to the floor.
Right.
Jerry, second by Brian, any further discussion?
Can we read that again, just? So, I know the general gist of it, but I don't know the.
Do you have a copy of that with you, Jerry?
Probably to, no, I don't. It's in,
You want me?
It's just to set a public hearing?
It's just to set the
Okay,
public hearing.
that's nice, yeah.
Well, I would add that it's a little bit more than set the public hearing, because it's really starting the motion of changing the local law. The first step is to set the public hearing. But it doesn't guarantee that you have to go any further than the public hearing.
Okay, yeah.
I can pull it up there.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, all that would start the process.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brian. Jerry, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds, please.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had one motion, but it's also in the resolution, so we're not gonna do the motion, we'll do it the resolution. Ron's getting up to speed on the radio system, he's been attending radio meetings. Appreciate it,
Do you understand everything now?
Oh, yeah. Come in Tokyo.
How's that working for you?
Mr. Chairman, could I please go back to the table? The motion was to remove the resolution from the table, but we do need a motion an act to adopt that resolution. So we removed it from the table. We just need another motion to approve that resolution.
I make a motion to act on that resolution.
By Brian, second by John. Any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Matt's making progress, he's got his kind of handful, he's taking a learning curve, but I think he's stepping up. They're doing good, they've done quite a few work orders. I did write down the total number, I think it was in the 70s or 80s this month, maybe 90s. We have a few resolutions, if people have questions, if we get to them, we'll have to discuss them. That's all I have right now, Mr. Chairman.
Jerry, you said that there's a resolution in there to approve the Kubota tractor?
Yes, ma'am. If not, I'll come back and do the motion, but I saw one.
There's one in there.
I believe so.
And that's why I asked about the motion.
I thought I saw one.
It's the 82,205, the resolution in there is for the upgrades, the LED lighting. That's in there.
Yeah.
Where did I get that from? There was words about it in
I'm
the
not seeing it, Jerry.
Okay, well, we'll do the motion then.
I I just.
Well, you
we
wanna
come-
wait till after we do the resolution,
Because
take it
there's
out there,
no-
then we
yeah.
can do a, then we can do a motion.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
That we won't
Terry,
duplicate it.
332.
I'll leave that there.
I think it's in,
It is.
Yes, it is resolution 332.
so we're good.
It's just
When Terry speaks, I think I'm wrong.
That's just to move the money,
That's
that's
just
not
to
the
move the
purchase.
money.
It's just
Memory hasn't failed me yet.
Hold it,
Jerry,
hold it.
that is just to remove the monies. That's not to award the bid.
We were all wrong.
So after
Okay.
30 years, Terry's still right.
So, I'll back up, sorry.
Terry was right.
Imagine that.
But I did remember. Motion to authorize Supervisor of Buildings and Grounds, Matt O'Connor, to purchase a Kubota tractor, 2650 with loader, 63-inch snow blower, 60-inch deck mower from White's Farm Supply. State bid price of $32,140.77. The purchase will be financed by capital funds and it will be paid over time as far as reimbursement.
Reimbursed over time.
Yeah.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
You all set, Jerry?
Yeah.
Thank you. Tom, Public Health, Community Services?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the public health side, we had a discussion, and this pertains to the budget coming up. Lewis County Public Health had planned to add a public health specialist to their workforce in 2019. This was removed from the budget due to county budget concerns and remaining below the tax cap. The plan was then to add a position in 2020, when savings were realized for retirement. Since the submission of the budget, Public Health is in receipt of a contract of $100,000 that would make funding a new position feasible and desirable in 2019. In order to maintain the county's maintenance of effort expense will need to be realized to offset this larger amount of money. It makes sense to add the position in 2019 rather than deferring until 2020. Public Health's right sizing that has begun or was begun in 2015 with a goal of 2019 has been completed, with the exception of adding this position of public health specialist and eliminating the principal account clerk. The elimination will be completed before the end of 2019, leaving the addition of this position as the final action. Public Health will then have a workforce size of between 15 to 16 full-time equivalents, and with the appropriate mix of administrative, fiscal, and program positions. The Public Health Committee supports the addition of this position to the 2019 budget, as it is a zero impact on the budget for 2019 and minimal impact on future years. And has directed the agency to revise their 2019 budget submission accordingly. I guess in simple terms, to get that $100,000 grant, we spend a little bit of money and we gain a person to just fill in everything that was planned on since 2015. On the community services side, just information that the second annual Cup of Joe campaign was sponsored by Lewis County Suicide Prevention Coalition. Lewis County Suicide Prevention Coalition partnered with 5 local county restaurants to provide a free cup of coffee for patrons who completed a short confidential survey. The information gathered will help the coalition better understand how we can assist the community and provide information about suicide. 5 restaurants agreed to participate. They were Gary's Restaurant, Doherty's Restaurant, Mystic River, Town Talk, Nice and Easy in Consulville. The Cup of Joe campaign ran from September 9th to September 15th during National Suicide Prevention Week. Dying by suicide is the 4th leading cause of death in Lewis County. The Suicide Prevention Coalition provided the restaurant with survey cards attached with a coupon for a free cup of coffee. Customers who filled out the short confidential survey were provided with a free cup of coffee from the restaurant and information about the warning signs of suicide from local resources and national lifeline numbers. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you, Tom. We can pause for a second, Ron. See back, move Dr. Quanda is here. Perhaps Jerry, like you were taking over.
Thank you. Dr. Nick Kanda. We first met in January, and as you know, my roots are in New England, and Dr. Kanda is a Michigan man. And at the end of January, at our very first meeting, we had a robust discussion about Tom Brady. So it was at that moment, I thought, this is going to work. So, but it really spoke to, I think, his approach, his bedside manner, coupled with his extensive training. So really, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Kanda.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me here today. It's my pleasure. We've had a couple clinics here already, and I service a lot of patients in the area, so it's nice. Patients are excited that they're like, well, I don't have to drive down to you. We come up here, and patients can get a lot of their care in the local area, which I think is supportive for the community as well. Be it ideal or good working with our local physical therapists, working with our local hospital and imaging to obtain the tests that are needed in the local area, and not necessarily having to drive an hour one way or another to get their tests done. And then working with the institution in growth and developing service lines, and we talked about some of the different procedures that can be done just in the local area here. No brain surgery in the area, so we're going to keep brain surgery down in Utica and in Syracuse. I'm part of the faculty at Upstate as well. Anybody have any questions? Happy to answer. It's my pleasure being in the area. If you see me around, buy a cup of coffee, or you can buy me a cup of coffee. But it's my pleasure being here. I am a graduate of the University of Michigan. I trained at Virginia Tech, and I did a fellowship in orthopedics and neurosurgery, combined spine fellowship at the University of Washington, Seattle. So I am a Lions fan, a Michigan fan, and I also have some for Seahawks as well. So although I lose on the one side for the Lions, I get to gain something. Pleasure being here. Please, if you, my information is easily obtained. You can talk to Jerry about it, or if anybody, when I'm around, wants to have lunch, I'm always around having lunch too. Okay? We're up here once a month, but we're going to increase that as the need becomes. And I foresee us, we had like 30 patients or so on one of our first clinics and second clinics, so I think the need will increase a little bit as well. Nice meeting everyone. I'm sure you got to get back to the budget seasons and everything. Okay? Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kanda. Welcome. Okay, Ron, Economic Development Planning, Forestry and Parks.
I just wanted to give you an update on the Climax building and the business park. Lewis County IDA is still in a hold pattern regarding the business park property behind the Climax building. We're currently looking into the Beaverite property in Glenfield, and potentially we'll relook at property along the number 4 road. As far as the Climax building, there's a court hearing scheduled on October 3rd to release the liens on the Climax building and allow our purchase transaction to move forward. We are led to believe that the hearing will be successful and we could be able to complete the purchase later in October. And that's all I have.
Questions for Ron? Brian?
So we're on hold on the property up here, Ron?
Yeah, because
So what exactly is the issue going on?
it's the planning board, still planning board.
What are they looking for there?
Well, I'm not as up on that issue as a lot of people are, but I know it's just seems to be some people on the planning board that I guess it's safe to say they really don't want it there, okay? Because they put roadblocks up every which way that they've been able, that they have, and they just don't seem to want it there. And the feeling of the IDA is that, rather than keep pushing that and forcing something down their throat, this hasn't been decided yet, might be better off going someplace where somebody wants you.
I know, but how much money have we stuck into this
A lot.
project?
I can't give you a number.
So,
but
and I know that you weren't here, but this goes back to the question, why the heck wasn't all this research and stuff done before we stuck all this money into it and talked to the planning board to see if that was gonna be done. And that's been the question right along all the way through this.
I can't answer that right now.
What money
I
have
don't
we stuck
think
in
there's
that?
What do you mean what money? Look at all the money we stuck in for the seekers and everything else, the engineering plans and everything.
I
Look at the
don't think
money that we
there's, I
stuck
don't
into
think there's
this.
a lot of money, it's been mostly paper and I don't think it's a huge amount.
Well, no, because we used to get financial reports that we moved money from the IDA account, or money that we gave the IDA that we paid out, Larry. Eric's reported that. What did the engineering costs cost? What did the design work
I'll get a
cost?
number, okay?
No, I'm serious, but what did the design work cost us? I mean, because we went forward with the design work and everything else, and we didn't even have the planning end of it taken care of yet.
There was
Brian,
also 130,000 CFA.
That's not debt, okay?
No, I understand that, Ron, but this is, and it's not nothing to do with you, because you
I
weren't
know
here
that.
through a lot of this.
Yeah.
But this has been the question that we've been bringing up for the last 3
Well,
years.
you also have to keep in mind that the IDA expected to be the lead on the seeker, and it was kind of a shock when the town of Wallville decided that they wanted to be the lead. And they took the seeker a lot further than was necessary. They wanted, they took the seeker looking at the project as it was completed, when the only necessary step they had to take was to take a look at, land as it is. And so, back to Ron's comment that there just are some people out there that don't want to
Well,
see
and
it.
I understand that, Larry, but it's like,
I guess-
we jumped at, we put the cart before the horse through this whole thing. I mean, even when we decided to purchase that property up there and put it up there, no one even had asked the question yet if the village had water capacity for something in that area. Or if we had sewer capacity. We've always had the horse in front of the cart on this project.
I know that the village had signed off on a certain amount of water and a certain amount of sewer, as well as, I think the town of Wallville. Am I correct in that, Dan?
They signed off on
I don't know about the sewer, Chairman, but we said we would give 20,000 gallons of water a day. My concern at that time when we did that was we were in a moratorium and I didn't see how we could do it, but we did approve it.
Thank you. So let's let Ryan get some numbers and then we'll have a further discussion on it.
Yeah, having worked on seekers and filled a lot of them out, I'm not sure that, I'm almost positive that the seeker talks about all known or perceived uses for that particular piece of property. I don't think it'll allow incrementalization. I think you have to disclose anything that's known to date or any planned uses for the land. And I think
The
there's
last-
a legal opinion out to that effect, if I'm not
We
mistaken.
did that on the trail system.
Yeah, it's not my
Have to go
understanding.
back and read that.
It has to be done complete project. Let's get some facts.
And we knew that. I mean, we brought that up a couple months, 3 months ago, we talked about that. But it was,
I like the idea they're looking other places.
well, I do too.
I mean, just,
Ron, if I could ask another question.
Sure.
The climax, we had an explanation here within the last 6 months, and there were some conditions of use in there. In other words, there was a tenant for half of it already.
yeah.
That stuff has not changed. Is that
No.
correct? Okay.
So the mill and Carthage are not.
What?
Is
That
there
was one
still
of
the
them, right?
agreement
Yeah.
that they have to use Carthage now, correct?
So many
I
square
believe
feet.
so.
So that gives you income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for anybody that might be interested, the IDA meeting is Thursday at 8 o'clock, and the guy that got all the answers will be there if you'd like to attend that. I'm sure you can, but.
No, I can't.
Just thought I'd throw it out there.
Why, they got somebody else in there?
No,
So the guy with all the answers.
well, it's not me.
I'm sorry.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for Ron? Thank you, Ron. Greg is not here. I'm not sure if anyone wants to cover it. If not,
Essentially, the only one that put a flag up for us, maybe Ryan's got a couple more between the two of us. There was one in there for $10,000 for vehicle expenses. Essentially, the answer is we've hit 2 deer with the cars, and supposedly the 4-wheeler was also hit. And that's to put money in the account so they can get the vehicles repaired before we recover the insurance recovery. So we're taking money out of capital projects if we approve it, and the money from the insurance will go back into capital projects. If that makes sense.
That piece is a wash in the end.
Well, I don't know where the deductible is. So
Well, yeah,
there might
unless
be a little
our
bit.
deductible, yeah.
Jerry, just to clarify on that, it's not a capital project, it's a transfer from the .1s, which is your personnel budget, to your .4, which is your operation budget, which
Okay.
requires board approval. So, that line item, in addition to, the incidents we've had running into animals, it's just run over with additional repairs this year.
And that'll
So
go
they're
back
looking
once
to-
they recover.
Yes, they're looking to replenish that line item.
The only other one, people seen that there's a resolution in there for hiring a replacement deputy.
We can talk about that in the resolution.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Dick, hospital?
Thank you, Chairman. We welcomed some new people into the fold at Lewis County General Hospital at the last meeting. Monica Quickless, MD, and Sean Harney, MD, are going to join our family practice providers. They have over 25 years of experience, and just catch up with. And Mr. Harney will be the chief medical officer for our unit, and the name may be familiar because he was here, I believe, before in the emergency room when that was a bunch of doctors that ran that room. So he's very well received, very well known, and should be able to function very well in that capacity. We congratulated Kimberly Smith, CNA, as Employee of the Month for August. If you see Kimberly in your travels, please congratulate her. The auxiliary's got a couple of items. Fundraiser, they're gonna have a hypnotist Thursday, November 8th at the South Louis High School. We're gonna have a Hollyberry sale Saturday, November 17th. Lowell Academy and Central School. They held their gala, a week ago, Saturday night. Took in about $40,000, which is pretty well as far as I'm concerned. I would like to see more participation from this board at that gala. If you guys can see your way, and women can see your way clear in the future. It is, I think, the largest non-personal fundraiser for the hospital at the time, and the hospital definitely is part of the county, and we do support it. So for next year, that gives you a year of consideration for that. The financial part, the year-to-date surplus is $8,389,219 versus a budgeted surplus of $881,902. And has been reported in the past. Some of that's due to reconciliations and additional money coming back into us from IGT re-inspections over the last 2 or 3 years. We had some really good admissions. Acute was second highest in a year and a half. Swing admissions were highest in a year. Our skilled nursing facility is listed at 98%, but when you factor in the rehab beds, they're, for all intents and purposes, at 100%. That makes it the highest in almost 7 years. OR surgeries, highest in over 4 years. Ambulatory surgeries, 4th month in a row that we had growth. Admissions to the hospital from the ER, the highest in over 2 years, second highest in over 4 years. ER visits, 955, highest in a year, and pretty close to the budget within a very few numbers. And that will do it, barring any questions.
Questions for Dick? Thank you, Dick. Andrea, Transportation, Solid Waste, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the Highway Committee first. The crews have been doing hot mix paving, taking care of shoulders, sealing of roads, grading and seeding of water line project is completed at the JCC site. Warren has had a progress meeting with the Blue Street Bridge construction, and that's all going well. In fact, they are ahead of schedule. Into the Solid Waste Committee, Pete Wood has been checking into Sourcewell, which is corporate purchasing, and it is a bid process. And they are looking to purchase a backhoe for that facility. Pete Wood discussed the damaged tractor trailer that a deer hit. This is the first deer hit in 30 years. The original estimate was $23,000. The annual Household Hazardous Waste Day that was held on September 8th of 2018 was a success. And Dank was very pleased with the turnout of 205 households participating. Pete discussed how recycling and trash tonnage are continuing to rise in the county. Also, I'd like to remind the legislators, you're invited to a Lewis County farm tour on Friday, October 12th, 4:45 to 8 p.m. at the Gracie Farm, which is located 8 miles north of Lawville. And you need to RSVP by October 3rd, and I would encourage you all to come. Dinner will be served, and I think it's a nice opportunity to see. I've been to the Gracie Farm before. I think it's amazing what farmers do. And I know they're having a lot of issues right now, and I think it'd be great to support them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That's on Route 26, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Andrea. Any questions for Andrea? County manager report, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patty and I have been pretty well focused on budget here, getting things prepared for our budget workshop. That is going to be the 11th. That's next Thursday at 5 o'clock. We hope that we can get through everything between 5 and 7:30. We plan on going department by department, hitting the highlights. You will have the slides that we're preparing for that presentation by the end of the week. And you will have the draft budget to review for the presentation, hopefully by the end of the week as well. The draft budget that we're working on does not mean that is the budget that will be presented formally at the November meeting. This is an opportunity for the Board of Legislators to see where we're at in the process and contribute. You know, there's going to be some requests that are presented that have come from department heads. We'll show you where Patty and I have made decisions on those. I would say recommendations on those, and ask the board to contribute to that process so that by the time we get to the November meeting, the document reflects input from the full board. So I hope that next Thursday will be an informative and a useful night for everyone so that our budget for 2019 is in line with the expectations of the full board. So we will continue to work on that. I want to echo what Randy had said about the North Country broadband. It's really important if you talk to constituents, if they would like broadband service, they really need to reach out and contact North Country Broadband, Mohawk Networks as soon as possible. The more people that reach out, the more quickly they're going to get to those areas. So that's absolutely important. I obviously have been working very closely with CNS engineers and our contractors on the JCC building, but I think we've already had a thorough update on that project. So if you have any additional questions about that or anything, just give me a shout. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ryan. Questions, Dick?
Yeah, Ryan, I heard over here too, as far as that broadband goes.
Yes.
But I stopped one of the trucks the other day and asked for some literature, and he handed it to me. But in that literature is not a phone number or anything.
Really?
And for those of us that aren't Facebook, friendly and what have you, I know it's on Linking Lewis, but I would like to suggest that we spend just a little bit of money and either do a Journal and Republican thing and or in conjunction with a radio thing for a little while. Because I'm not sure that the great amount of the village residents really understand what it is and it's out there and what it can do.
Well,
You're getting bombarded with Spectrum on TV and, you know, all the other stuff, and they're just hammering it.
I will say that Mohawk Broadband has put some resources towards marketing. I mean, they're on 7 News, they're on Lincoln Lewis. I don't know about print advertising, so maybe we're missing that demographic of folks that aren't, you know,
Well,
like
the
you
print
said,
and the radio,
Facebook folks.
you know, I'm not saying do it for months,
Yeah.
but maybe a week or so, just to.
Yep, I think that's absolutely a great
And so
idea.
what people have to understand is whatever areas have the most interest is gonna.
That's where they're gonna go first, yeah.
Because when I called them back in June, oh yeah, we'll have you serviced by the end of August. Well, obviously not enough people in my area wanted it
Yeah.
because I don't have service yet, so.
But I think we just need to get that out to more people.
The only other place I've seen phone numbers on yellow signs, they're stuck here and there. but-
Yeah.
I can't wait while I'm driving, I don't stop for another.
And along with the cost, what's the cost, cause that's a lot of people, well, how much is it?
Just a thought.
Yeah, that's right.
The 3 towers that are up for service right now are Barnes Corners, Crystal Dale, and Lionsdale. There are 7 repeater towers that they have secured leases with private landowners for, and they hope to have those up by the end of the year as well. So this is a 2-year process. By the end of 2019, though, they really need to have fulfilled the requirements of the New York State grant. So good progress, I think, for 2018. And they'll need to really hustle next year to get the rest of those repeater towers going to fulfill the rest of the requirements.
What was the cost, Ryan?
The total cost?
No, to get the internet,
Oh, to get the
individual
internet?
cost.
I'm actually not certain
There's
about
different
that.
Had to be
levels,
less than
John.
$50, didn't it?
There's different levels. There's a 5 megabyte per second price. There's a 10. It goes all the way up to 25. I think the highest price is just under $50.
Yeah, I think that was the limit, they couldn't go beyond 50.
They're, from what I understand, very competitive with the other players in the region. So that's the goal. If it's not cost effective, then it's not.
Let's put it lightly, John. I'll pay $50
So
because
high
I
speed's
don't
only
even.
25?
Yeah, well, I don't even get one, so.
Okay, so we want to refer the question of advertising back to IT
Well,
committee.
Sure,
Sure,
that's fine.
Just so you know, it'd be tough for us to advertise on their behalf, but we could do a press release encouraging people to, we could do something like that. So I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Anything else for Ryan? Maddie, treasurer's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The balances for this month, special legislative contingency is $70,637.08. Regular contingency, $231,791.23. Capital data processing, $73,905.37. Capital equipment, highway portion, $158,431.24. County portion, $302,844.20. Sales tax to date, $7,549,271.96. We are above budget. Internal service fund, I still do not have the August report, so it is the same as last month. The fund balance is at $3,828,366.54. And that is my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Patty? Dick?
If I could, Patty, the capital equipment account, do you have a list of planned expenditures from that between now and the end of the year?
No, I do not. I do not know as they come in, I do the transfers. As you'll see, I believe there in this packet, there is one for the highway for a lease that they have.
Yeah, but the department heads haven't come forward with it?
No,
Okay.
no. And now, I'm sorry, the leases with Enterprise, they should be done for the year. So that
they're
should
not
be
coming
it,
forward
and
anymore.
now if there's anything that comes up, then they'll request it.
Okay.
Dick, I know the highway department, Warren has a list of capital equipment that, like, I think we have Warren's here. I think Dave set up like a 5-year plan, didn't he, or something, for capital equipment. So he has a list Warren has a list of.
For the 158 that's highway property.
Right.
Right, he
Yeah.
has a list of what he wants to replace over the years, so, over the next 5 years, so.
And we don't always use all 200,000 every year.
Well, that's my point. I'm just thinking if the Ways and Means could take a look at that, we could kind of make some plans towards year end. If something came up where you needed 5 or 10,000, you might have a warm fuzzy. Maybe you got it, maybe you don't. That type of stuff. Just for planning purposes. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Before we move on to resolutions, we'll go back to the public hearing on authorizing the tax, go over the tax cap. Is anyone here would like to comment on that? If not, we'll close the public hearing on authorizing the tax cap and move on to resolution.
You need a motion to, what's coming up later.
Ways and Means report is examined, the committee has examined the claim, presented payment in the total amount of $1,329,982.33 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed that is signed by the two legislators of that committee.
Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 324 is auditing and allowing the claims in the amount of $1,329,982.33.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion. Roll call.
Burns,
Yes.
Chartran,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Balzer is absent, LaChause,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Mosher,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Resolution otherwise treating local law number 2 to override the tax levy limit established by the 2% tax cap.
Moved by Brian, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call, yeah.
Burns,
Yes.
Chartran,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
LaChause,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Mosher,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Resolution 326, adopt updated health insurance portability and accountability act security policies.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Establishing and adopting a policy on sexual harassment.
Moved by Brian, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Setting
That wasn't, you weren't opposed, you did this.
No.
Okay.
Setting enforcement hearing date pursuant to local law 2 of 2007, unsafe buildings law, River Street, Village of Loudville, for November 6th.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion.
Yeah, I think, as I read this, and I'm sure Joan put it all together, but if I was a young individual that owned a house, this would have one of two effects on me. It would scare the hell out of me because of all of the threatening language that's in here, and I'm sure we probably gotta put it in order to comply with everything, but if there's some way, because I don't believe there's any resistance, I think it's all done with darn insurance companies holding back again. So,
That's what
if we could just soften this just a little bit somehow, and I don't know whether we can.
The one I think we're talking about, there's no insurance company involved.
This one here.
This one definitely is an insurance holdup. 100% guarantee it. They talked with the.
Just a thought, and I know you gotta, there's probably no two-step process where you could hand him, what he needs is our condemnation thing, to go to his insurance company, I believe, and say, hey, it's been condemned, it's gotta come down, here's the county saying it's gotta come down. We had the same problem, I think, down on South State Street, was that one. That insurance company, I think, held everything up until this all got done. Just a thought.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to building maintenance department.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion. Jerry?
Well, just like to throw it out, essentially, they're, abolishing one title, putting another one up. It's when Matt's gone and this and that, someone to fill in for him, responsibility and stuff. And, the total life of it over the total amount of steps is roughly in the 5,000. Total cost into the future. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jerry. Any further discussion?
See if you understand why that is.
Not at all.
Okay, so this person has reached all his step increases in grade 21. Okay, so by putting him in another grade, he starts that whole step increase procedure over again. Except they're bringing him at step 2 because that brings him that $100 and some over what he was making now. So he starts at step 2. But this gentleman now will get 6 more step increases. He's already received 7 at grade 21. Now he's going to receive 6 more at the grade 26. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
And that's provided he's in that spot for that length of time.
And that's provided he stays in there for 6 years, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing bidding contract award for energy efficient LED lighting upgrades in various county buildings.
Moved by Jerry, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing county to submit initial rent proposal with required documents to the USDA for rent space in county building.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion.
This is in the DES building, right?
This is for slowing one.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, buildings and grounds.
Moved by Brian, second by Tom. Discussion.
This is the track.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, buildings and grounds.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Division of Criminal Justice Services and Fire and Emergency Management.
Moved by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion.
Does any grant money go against any of this, or this is just straight?
I think it's all green.
It's all grant money, okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appropriate funds, Fire and Emergency Management.
Moved by John, second by Brian. Discussion.
Okay, I know what we're doing, yeah, got it, no problem.
Just confusing.
Was for a minute.
I know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between the county and New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between the county and New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Moved by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Office for the Aging.
Moved by John, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between county by and through the Office for Aging and man jail university payment.
Moved by John, second by Andrea. Discussion?
John, can, just briefly, I remember this, but I don't remember all the details to it. This is consumption of alcohol on property that we own.
No, I can answer that, Mr. Chairman.
Go for it. Good, thank you.
No, I'll answer that. It's, OFA has, would like this person to come in to do some, painting, art painting, possibly with some of, the OFA, clients and actually open to others. But she's a private person and private entity, so we need to have an agreement. Generally, we would not let them use our space, county space, but it is of a benefit to OFA, and in fact, it will help Kelly to create some more units that she needs to show for New York Connect, so.
No, I knew there was some good to it, Kelly, but I just forgot the rest of the details.
Session for respite.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
for others who want to come in, even caregivers.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no drinking allowed,
Okay.
except for water and juice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
What would you want?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between the county, and probation for Capital District Youth Center.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Agreement between public health and the hospital for medical technologist.
Moved by Tom, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
What resolution are we on? Right out loud.
We are on 343.
Thank you. I think it went black.
To appropriate funds, public health.
Moved by Randy, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Just so you know, Ron, that's why I want that to paper, because that's what you call
Authorizing software licensing agreement, with GIS Cloud.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Ron, can you close it out? We don't know. Over on the left top, close it out.
Yeah, I know. Now we gotta start at the top again. And that's black, so I guess
You
I'm,
good?
I can't even get it to open.
Is that the man right behind you?
You need the packet.
Yeah, that one right there. That's all the one I'm supposed to need.
345. Just 345.
I'm sorry.
345.
Too boring we were the last time you had around.
It's easy for you to say.
It's, 345 is fixing date of public hearing on addition of the ATV trail system of Rodman Bernal's property.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing single case agreement between the county and Rocky Mountain Holdings.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion.
Is this something that did happen or for potential?
This did
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
and this was a settlement, right?
Yes, I can explain a little bit. This was for one of the inmates that was in our care at the Lewis County Jail to be airlifted for medical treatment. The original bill came in around $65,000. Kudos to Nikki Adams, who works in the Sheriff's Department, for negotiating with the company to bring it down a little bit, and then I got on the phone with them, and Joan got on the phone with them, and we brought it down a little bit further, and I think we got got it down to like 42, which I think is about as low as they're gonna go, so.
This is
46, 46, okay. Yeah.
One question, I mean, where were they transferred from, hospital?
That I don't know, it's the details. of
Sheriff,
that.
do you call it, is it
Yes, I do, it's cardiac, person, so.
at
The
the
doctor
jail?
at the hospital removed one, not us, that was the doctor that did that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Jo-
you.
Joan, is the right number 46 or 42?
It's, whatever's in there is correct, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing public safety answering points grant agreement.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Not opposed. I got a question for you when you're done with that.
Okay, go ahead.
You're going through these so fast, I'm having trouble coming up, but that $46,000, is that gonna come out of the sheriff's budget? Is that gonna come out of our contingency budget? Where's that money coming out?
Quick one, I don't think sheriff has it in his budget.
Well,
He
actually-
did, he did get a little weak in the knees when I mentioned that, but.
He does, actually, there is enough for now in the jail medical line. Obviously, probably when we get closer to the end of the year,
Will
it
that
might
be
run
reimbursed?
low, but
Okay,
there's enough to
good.
cover this expense.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, I just
Sorry.
slow get to that question.
You can slow down a little if you like.
No, keep going. I'd rather slow you down.
349, authorizing agreement with Harrisville Central School for the SRO.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Transfer funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. 3 less deer we gotta worry about, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorize agreement between DSS and House of Good Shepherd.
Moved by John, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing MOU between DSS and the hospital for rehab services.
Moved by John, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and Lifeline Systems.
Moved by John, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and LifeNet.
Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor?
I got one
Oops,
question.
sorry. Back up. Go ahead, Peter.
The one we just passed, are they pretty much two different companies providing roughly the same service?
Correct. They provide different parts of the county.
Okay, because one doesn't cover like the whole county.
Oh, come on.
We
Jenny,
have to
you-
offer, we have to offer an option, we have to offer 2 options.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and Office for Aging for Feed program.
Moved by Tom, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to social services.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement with Black Broadcasting Group for a public transportation system.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorize agreement with Copenhagen Farms to lease advertising space on transportation bus.
Moved by Andrea, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorize an agreement between IDA and Public Transportation Bus for advertising, Naturally Lewis logo.
Moved by Ron, second by John. Discussion.
Where does this money go for these?
It goes into the transportation fund, and if they utilize it for something, I forgot what
It goes back in, it goes back into our advertising campaign. So it's, as the money comes in for that, for those spaces and buses, it gets put back into our advertising so we can continue to build the advertising campaign.
Ours being the county of Lewis or ours being IDA?
The bus.
Ours being the county, our transportation
Yeah.
department.
Thank you, thank you.
All in favor?
Yep.
Opposed? Carried.
Agreement between JCC to lease advertising space on the bus.
Moved by Tom, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
For agreement with Johnson Newspaper for public transportation bus advertising.
Moved by John, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement Mohawk Valley Pictures for TV, web, and radio commercials for the public transportation system.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement with North Country Storage Barns for public transportation bus advertising.
Moved by Brian, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between Spectrum Reach for mobile digital audience network campaign.
Moved by Brian, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between Spectrum Reach to air advertisements on cable TV.
Moved by Brian, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Treasurer and Systems East.
Moved by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Approving appointments to Workforce Development Board.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Lewis County Bureau.
Moved by Dick, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, next on the list, we need a motion to set a special board meeting for 10/11/2018 to begin at 5 p.m. for the purpose of considering ratification of the hospital union contract agreement and any other business deemed necessary. Moved by Jerry, second by Tom. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
That's also the day of our budget.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna do both things.
Okay, good.
And we may not do this.
Okay.